What's up, you guys? This is Lana.
And this is Mason from Home Host.
Welcome to our second video. And in this one, we're going to talk about our first Airbnb, where it's located. We will break down the numbers for you and the mistakes we have learned so far.
Yeah, as we said in the previous video, we have this house in Bakersfield, California, running in Airbnb or VRBO or all the short-term rental platforms. We want to share with you how much we made out of it so far in this past 6 months. It's a good indicator that we can see how much we made and we can project how much we're gonna make, and if we fix our mistakes, how much potentially we're gonna add revenue to our income. So if you're looking into just neighborhoods similar to Bakersfield, it doesn't have to be obviously Bakersfield, but similar areas, you can see how much you can make potentially and how much you need to put down to startup cost and how much you can bring revenue.
For the Bakersfield, why we decided to choose Bakersfield and what kind of homework you should do before you invest in your first property are the followings. You want to make sure you don't buy a property that is too far from you. And the rule of thumb is you don't want to go far more than 3 to 4 hours far. Other than that, it's becoming really complicated to manage small issues. Let's say there is something that doesn't work and you still don't have your handyman, you don't have your cleaning crew. You want to be able to, within a day, be there, fix the problem, and come back.
So we wanted somewhere just completely free for all. Bakersfield had absolutely no regulation. So we thought it's a good area, and it's 2 hours of drive, 1 hour and a half, 2 hours, depends who's driving. So if you don't get speed ticket,
faster.
If you don't get speed ticket, then you'll get there 1 hour and a half. If you want to go safer, then 2 hours. There wasn't a huge competition going on in Bakersfield. However, as we researched about it, it has a lot of potential. It's somewhere located between LA and San Francisco, and is also close to national parks such as Sequoia, Kings Canyon, Hot Springs.
Also, for the first property and in general for like Airbnb, you want to make sure there's a lot of traffic in that city. People are visiting the city for many reasons, not only for one reason. Otherwise, the Airbnb will be seasonal. One more reason for us was land hacking. We wanted to have a house that has some land next to it. So down the road, we can also build a property, ADU or mother-in-law suite or some other tiny homes that are very common now, very attractive for people, for tourists. So Bakersfield offered us that opportunity to have a house within at least half an acre land in it.
So another reason was, surprisingly, Bakersfield had a good occupancy rate of 73%, which is slightly better than what we thought. So we dig this information out of AirDNA, Mashwiser, or all the rooms. There are different websites that they provide you all of these information. They tap to the API of Airbnb, and then they dig some information out, so you can count on it, just average it out. You definitely can do better than those numbers, because those numbers are for average. There are like houses that are not looking great, and you can do a lot better than that.
If you have a property in a great location that attracts many people for many reasons, has at least 70% occupancy rate, not too many regulations, has some Airbnb but not great competition, then you're set to go.
So as a startup cost, this house was $560,000. We wanted to do second home loan, which is 10% down payment. With the closing cost, it came down to $60,000 down payment. Handyman and remodeling was about $4,500. Furniture was about $41,000. I know it's slightly above average, but it's something that we decided to just go with a better decoration, better quality of materials, and this is something that we didn't regret. It got us ahead of the competitors, and the house looks cool. At least we think so.
And to be very honest, since this was our first property, we were also very excited. So we had a little bit issues with controlling us and not buying too expensive or too many things. Just keep in mind, with the first property, you're gonna spend a little bit more. And then once you have the mechanism ready, right? Once you know already the order, it will be slightly cheaper than this. So let's talk about our monthly expenses. We have $200 cleaning fee per cleaning, $150 on gardener fee, $125 for pool service, $200 for utilities. However, it varies from month to month, but on average it's $200. We have $40 for restocking and 6% for income tax. Keep in mind, we had this property since February 8th, and it's been already 6 months or just a little bit more we're renting it. However, it gives us a really good idea of like what to expect for the next 6 months or for the next year. For the month of February, our revenue was about $5,400. For March, $4,600. April was amazing, $8,200. May was even better, $10,000. And then June was $5,000. July, $8,000. And the total revenue was somewhere around $42,000. We had property management company. They charge us 12.5% of the management fee. This is basically one of our biggest mistakes we have done so far with this property. We'll talk about it more later. After all the payments, loan payment, cleaning fee, gardening fee, and everything else that we just described, we ended up having a net profit for February about $900. March was terrible, $450. April, $3,000. May was $4,400. June was $800. And July was $3,400. So overall, the net profit was $13,000, which if you rent this for a long term, you're not gonna have this kind of profit. Not even for the whole year or two.
So that brings us to our mistake that we've done and what would be done differently. We went with a property management because in the beginning we're sort of afraid to do it ourselves because we're a full-time employee and then we just work 8-9 hours a day. And we said we don't have time to deal with guests and we're not super experienced. What should we do? So we went straight up with the property management, which is absolutely a mistake, at least for us. You pay 12.5% fee. Which you say, okay, if they take everything from my hand and they take care of everything, it's totally worth it. But the reason for that is you're not hands off. The guests will ask questions from the property management. Property management asks the cleaners. The cleaners will ask you, and that will create a loop that takes time for the guests to get the answer, and they get frustrated and they will leave you negative reviews. We got a bunch of negative reviews only because the property management took too long to respond to the guests and they were just waiting outside. It was hot or it was cold and it was a bad experience for the guests.
Plus, we were thinking that property management company will help us to increase our occupancy rate, thinking that they have more experience working with people and guests, but that's not really true because they're mostly using the software and there's not much of effort of trying to book your place when there's, let's say, 1 week gap. In that case, if it was us, we would just lower the daily rate and we'll make sure even with a smaller lower rate we get our property booked. But with property management company there is no human behind this all the time and they just rely on their software.
For the month of March we only had about $400 profit. The reason for that was there was a disconnect between their calendar and Airbnb calendar. In Airbnb it was showing that it's completely booked versus it wasn't complete, it was just wide open. So we asked them, so why is this happening? They said, oh, it's our mistake, we're gonna fix it right away. It took exactly 3 weeks to fix it and they didn't compensate nothing for it. So this is something that you have to expect. You have to keep checking their calendar to make sure it's synced up. It has happened twice and this is something that they won't compensate you anymore.
Yeah.
But mainly when you want to run an Airbnb business, you want to have an experience with your guests. You want to ask them for reviews, you want to treat them with something. But when you go with property management, it's a disconnect between you and the guest. And the property management doesn't really care for your 5-star review necessarily. They will just send an automated message, thanks for staying with us, please leave us a 5-star review or whatever. And once they just see this automated machine-looking message, they're not gonna worry about it. Because they know there is not a human behind it. It's just an automated message.
And what's the conclusion, sir?
So I like it when she says sir.
Are we happy with this property? Of course we are. Even with the property management company, we had positive cash flow. The worst month that we had, we still had $400 of like net profit, right? That was amazing. But now, since we tapped in the real potential of the Airbnb, we know for sure we can make more. We know for sure we love giving people a great experience.
The potential of this property, we're thinking based on this past 6 months of data, we're thinking it's going to be $10,000 ish per month revenue. And then after paying the mortgage and all the expense, even paying more to cleaners to help us run this property perfectly fine, we're thinking that we can roughly make over $5,000 net profit with average occupancy rate of 80%. And just do a good decoration, go do a really good photography, just make it visually pleasing, and just good amenities in there.
Make sure you have games, we provide coffee,
barbecue, we have full set of kitchen so they can cook properly if they get together on holidays or whatnot.
For us, this experiment was great. We feel like Airbnb is a great opportunity for people to start their small business.
It's not 100% passive income. It's never meant to be 100% passive income. This is gonna take a little bit of energy from you, but definitely not more than 2 hours, not even 1 hour a day. One thing you have to pay also attention to, hire the right cleaning crew. They're the one that will keep your property clean, and then most of your reviews go towards cleaning. Totally worth it to pay extra to your cleaning crews. They're the one that are actually running your property, not anybody else.
I hope you guys, our experience and these numbers give you some idea of where to invest and how much money you need for the beginning. If you live in somewhere small state or smaller town, you definitely need $200,000-$300,000 and you're good to go. For us in LA, you can't really find places or prices like that. And that's why our starting range was $500,000.
So hopefully this information that we found in this past 6 months of us and our mistake was something valuable for you. If you have any question, just leave it in the comment. We would love to answer those questions for you.
And since this is our second video and we are committed to have more video down the future, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel, and see you guys soon. Cheers!
Bye!